Hey, sports fans, it's Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. We're on Socialing the Distance, and we're with Josephus Lyles, and he's at home in Florida. And hey, congratulations on the 200 PBs, man. That was pretty cool.
Thank you.
So this season's been a little crazy. When did the COVID thing start affecting your season?
So I want to say it was in March.
Okay.
Like early to mid-March. I remember it was actually kind of crazy because, we were training normally and, everybody's starting to hear about COVID, but it's like, okay, it's getting a little bad. And I remember it was like just after the NCAA had shut down the collegiate nationals. That's crazy. And then I remember our coach came, it was on a Friday, and he was like, yeah, we probably won't be able to train at the NTC soon because, all this is happening. And the National Training Center where we train is actually a hospital campus. So there was like, so we probably won't be able to train there. And everybody was like, they're taking that, but we really didn't think it would happen. And then literally so that was on a Friday. And then Sunday night we got like a text, and I was like, okay, we can't train. We can't train at the NTC anymore. So we ended up training at a park after that. And we met at a park. And that day, I remember after that was kind of weird because we kind of were just like we weren't doing all too much because nobody knew what was going to happen.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember we were like just, everybody was on Twitter just looking for like the updates because the Olympics was like having all the updates. Some days it was like they were trying to have the Olympics. Other days they might not have it. It's not looking good. And then it was just like, they're not having it. So that was kind of crazy.
What did you feel when you first heard the Olympics were being postponed?
I was a little bit disappointed because I felt like training was going like really good going up to that. So I wasn't, and at that point we weren't sure if it was like it was going to get canceled or if it was postponed or like what was going to happen exactly. So it kind of was like I felt like you're working so hard for like a goal, and then it's almost like that goal like it's not going to happen. Like it was like taken away. So at first I was like a little bit hurt, but then at the same time I was like, all right, well, if it does happen, like, because then we weren't sure if it was going to get canceled or postponed. So it's like, I don't think they was going to cancel. That's like a huge thing to cancel. So it's like, all right, we got another year. So just got to put in work for another year and try to get ready.
What did Coach first say to you guys when you knew that the Olympics were being postponed?
He was like, well, I don't know what we're going to do. The Olympics is postponed. I don't have as much information as y'all. We don't know if there's going to be any track meets. So for now, we're going to train like there is going to be track meets. Yeah. And if there's not, then there's not. And if there is, we'll be ready. So we got like as much done on the grass as we could. But even then, like it was a lot more light. Like the training was a lot more lighthearted. Like we wouldn't do as much stuff just because, we couldn't. And on top of that, like, there wasn't like that much of a motivation to do like a lot of like intense training. So
When you guys came back to training, did you have access to a track?
So we never fully stopped. We were just training on the park in parks. So I remember we were for like 4 weeks we were training at one park in Claremont, and eventually we got kicked out of that park. So we went to a different park that was like a lot smaller. It didn't have any shade, and then Florida in the spring and summertime is hot. So
so
we were practicing at like 6 a.m. on this it's like a football field pretty much. So it's just like one football field, and we stayed there for I want to say like 3 to 4 weeks, and then after that, stuff started opening back up in Florida. So we were able to train at the NTC track, and we were pretty much like the only people allowed there. And on top of that, like we had to be in like small groups. So we trained in like groups of like 4 or 5, I want to say, at a time.
Yeah. What did you train primarily as a 400-meter runner, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you've done this year, you've just had some great success at the 200. Is that changing how you and Coach are looking at things for you in the future?
So I think Coach B, he always kind of like saw me more as like a 2-4 runner. Like he always knew that I had like a lot of speed, but at the same time, like I would get hurt a lot. So he kind of steered away from the 200 because I would always like get dinged up. And this year, what happened is when we split up training groups because we couldn't train with a lot of people, I just went with Noah and some of the other sprinters like Jalen Bacon and Kendall Williams and stuff like that. And I was just training in their group instead of in the 400 group because it was just easy for me and Noah to go to train at the same time. Whereas before I would go at like 400 with the 400 group. So because I started training with them, and then when we came back to the track, I kept training with them because we kept being in small groups. And then that kind of blossomed into like me doing like a little bit more speed work this year. And like, so when we do like block starts and some of those workouts, I would do it with those guys, which are more like 100, 200 runners. So like, you know, instead of doing like on some of our speed days, like for the 400 runners, we would usually do something that's like more along lines of like 120s or 200s or something like that. I ended up doing like things that were more like, you know, 40, 60, 80 and stuff like that. So I was doing like a little bit more speed on some of the days. And at first I was getting like, you know, smashed, destroyed. They were tearing me up. But eventually I just started running like, you know, my body started taking to it. And I started running like actually very fast. And then, you know, after that, I think, and I was healthy as well. So I think Coach was like pretty happy about that. And then, you know, this year he was like, you know, he wants me to run some 200s, really get my speed up, especially because it was an off year. So I ended up doing like pretty good in the 200. And so he was just like, you know, I think he was pretty happy about that.
At the beginning of the season, what was your personal best at 200?
So I want to say it was 20.7 from high school. I did run 20.3 on a straightaway at the Boston Booth Games in 2018 or 2036, I want to say, on a straightaway. But that doesn't officially count. So my official PB was 20.70.
Wow.
And so, but at the end of this year, it's 2024.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I could have ran a little bit faster than that. I think I could have ran 20 flat, honestly, like 20 something. But because of everything that happened and like their opportunities to run and everything like that, it just didn't happen that way. But I definitely learned a lot running that race.
When you started up with races this season, they had some kind of, I'll call them unique races, right? So you and Noah, I believe, were competing in Claremont, and then other people competing in a couple. What was that like?
It was interesting. I know even just for putting that race on, it was kind of crazy because I want to say like even like, you know, 2 weeks before, we didn't actually know if we were going to race or not. Like there were like mentions of it here and there, but it wasn't like set in stone. So it was only until like a week out before like some of the Claremont track meets where they was like, oh, we're actually going to have this, where some of the people wanted to have it, some people didn't want to have it. Like it was like kind of up in the air. And then there was like a lot of health clearing that they had to do for it as well. So like one of the physiotherapists from USATF, Jerica, she did like a lot in like setting up like health things, taking people's temperatures and having to fill out all these waivers and stuff like that and getting it like sanctioned to have the actual track meet. So I know that was like a lot as well. So going into it, everybody was kind of like, didn't really know what to expect, didn't really know if we were going to have it or not. But I think Coach Brahman, he definitely wanted us to go into like, he really wanted us to be prepared. Like even like going into the season, like before, he was like, you know, if we do race, he wants us to be prepared to race. So it's like, even if we're not going to go and run PRs, he was like, it's a year to get better. So we going to work on something. So I know for me this year, I worked a lot on form, like my form got a lot better and like really drilled that. So I feel like that definitely equates to a lot of the fast times this year as well.
When you ran, your brother and you went 1-2 in a couple races. I recall the one in the U.S. right before you guys went to Europe. You ran, I think, 20:34. What did that feel like?
I don't think in the US I don't think we went 1-2 because I know we weren't even the same heat. I don't think.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah. But I think I ran 24 in that race, and it was actually a really big race for me. Confidence wise, it felt like a breakthrough almost.
Okay.
Because you know, I was running fast before that, but I wasn't really like hitting it. Like I wasn't on the level. I feel like that a lot of the I think my coach, even like my mom and everything, like saw that I was like training at. So then a lot of the things like mentally, it was like kind of hard for me to like really put myself in that driver position and be like, like I'm the best. Straight up. Like to have that mentality going into races. And so that kind of made it hard for me, like when going into races, to execute well and actually run some of the times that I knew I was capable of running from practice. So I feel like that race was one of the races where I actually put together like a really good race. And I was able to go and run something that was like, I feel like reflective of where I had been training at. Sure.
When you guys went to Europe, what was it like heading over there? Was it a little scary? Was it, like I have been out of my last trip, I went to Dubai in January. Yeah. And I flew to Boston, for the New Balance indoor. Yeah. And then I had to shut it down because we got told in February that, hey, man, don't go to Europe. You're going to get stuck there, And so what's it like now traveling out of the country?
It was interesting because even to leave the country, we had to get all these papers printed and all these like documents from, all different types of sports bodies, from like IAAF, USA Track and Field, even like the, Prince of Monaco or whatever. He had to like send a letter. So it was kind of crazy in that aspect, like just to get ready to go. It was a very big like thing that we had to do. But then once we actually left the country, it was fairly relaxed over in Europe, I will say. Like I felt like, when we were in Monaco, they don't have like a lot of cases over there. So a lot of the people, they weren't really wearing masks unless they were in like stores. Like if you were just out and about, you didn't really wear a mask. And the airports, the airports actually had a lot of people in them, where like here, like a lot of flights are like shut down. Not a lot of people on the flights and stuff like that. Over there, it was like almost like it was just normal. Like the flights were normal or anything like that. So it was very interesting. When we were over there, we had to take a lot of COVID tests, like to go over there and while we were over there. So I think I've taken, like, since the beginning of COVID started, I think I've taken like six or seven COVID tests. Luckily, all of them came back negative.
So Monaco, talk to us about Monaco.
So Monaco was fun. That was the first time I've been to Monaco, and that was really fun. And then going into running the 200, I feel like was like that was like a big thing, and I was ready for it. It was the first time I felt like I was in a diamond league. I was like confident enough to like be like, I'm gonna go and like really kill it. And so like leading up to it, I kind of knew that I was gonna run well. It's actually funny because when I got in the race, I got out like really well. And when I came off the curve, I felt like it came off the curve with way more speed than I was used to. And I felt like my last 50 was actually like pretty bad compared to like how I've been traded. And I was like I was losing form, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm struggling. But I still got second. I still ran pretty well. So, and that was like my second fastest time at the time, I think. So my coach was like, it don't matter once you get to the track meets, it's all about the win or doing well. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be, it's not always about time. Like you just go there and you do well.
Do you know when coach is confident in you?
Yeah. I feel like he's always confident in me.
That's good, man. That's really cool. Now, you've been coached by Coach B for how long now?
I want to say it was about 3 or 4 years since I came out of high school. So 2016, 2017. So about like 4 years, 3 or 4 years.
When you first started working with him, was it intimidating for you, or was it like when I first started talking to Coach? This has got to be 10 years ago. he kind of scared the heck out of me a little bit. He's just a little different, you know? And he's a lot of fun now. And when I asked him a question, he's great. I just interviewed him about a month ago. And I've got to watch him with you guys a few times, you know, and I'm fascinated with the coach-athlete relationship. So how has it changed for you over the last 3 or 4 years?
You know, it's funny because a lot of people do say that he's like fairly intimidating, but I don't like it's I don't think maybe when I first got there he was a little bit intimidating. He was a little bit serious, but now I feel like he's not like he's funny. He's always joking. Like I mean, he's joking like all the time. Like before we race, he's usually like dancing or something. Like he's so funny, and you know he's just always cracking jokes when we have practice, and like I guess he can be intimidating if you're not as close to him, but once you're kind of closer to him, like once I actually like came to the group and got to know him, it wasn't really he was always like a fun type thing. Like, you know, he likes to watch people run fast. That's what he always says.
So, no, I think he's a straight shooter. Not, you know, and my time with him, I'm like someone who's real. If I ask him, hey, what is that athlete looking like? What can they do to improve? He can break it down, and I'm fascinated with that. When he talks to you about workouts, so say he's going to say, hey, Josephus, today you're going to do 4 150s flying start, and then you're going to finish with a couple 250s. Will you go, Coach, I am beat up today. I think I can handle this. Or how do you, or do you say, okay, Coach, is there interaction, or how does it work?
It's actually very interesting because he always gets mad at me because in the past, I would not tell him if I was like how I was feeling all the time. So I'm like one of the people who I like to work hard. So I'm trying to do like every workout that I can, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do like the best I can. So a lot of times with the intensity that we run at in training, like you can't do that all the time because a lot of times you're gonna get hurt or you're gonna get nagged. So he is very, very vocal about if you don't feel good, you're not gonna do that workout.
Okay.
And so if you ask him or if he asks you how you feeling, and you're like, I'm good, and you're not good, like he does not like that. Like he wants you to be honest.
Sure. And that's what you got to do. At your level now, because it's different from when you were in high school.
Exactly.
You're a professional athlete, and you've been doing this for almost 4 years, and you did it. You went from a high school athlete to a professional athlete. Try to explain to our viewers what the difference is. What do you feel about? Do you like being a professional athlete?
I love it, honestly. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me. But I will say that the biggest difference, there's a lot of differences, but one of the biggest things is, one of the training intensity and even the race intensity. So if I was in high school, I never ran faster than 50 seconds in a 400 in practice. But I was running 45 because we just raced all the time. And it's a little bit different in training or as a professional. Like I've run 45 seconds in training multiple times. Where it's even for like distances that are like 420 and like 450 and stuff like that, like asking if he asks us to come through at a time, it's never like I can't run that fast. It's almost just expected. Like you don't say I can't run that fast. So you just feel it. So there are times where he will something could be your PR and he might actually come through faster than your PR. Or something like that. Like just this, whereas like I've seen, some of our multiple of our guys run 19 seconds in practice and things like that. So it's just kind of expected of you. So because training like that is so much different than going out and, never running faster than 50 seconds in practice.
Sure.
It's it's a whole different thing. So I think the biggest thing being a pro is also being healthy because like if you can train well, you don't have to hit like every day fast.
Yeah.
But you hit like a couple of days fast and you're just healthy, you'll go out and you run fast. So like even like transitioning, that was very hard for me to grasp because before I would just like to run all my workouts like fast. So like if coach gave me a time, it's like, well, if I run faster than this time, then I'll run faster in the races. But it doesn't necessarily work like that on this level where it's, or the way that he trains us, where it's like, if you're actually running faster than the time, it probably is going to be detrimental for you. And it can hurt you in a lot of ways more than it'll help you. Like he's telling you to run the time for a reason. So like if you want to run faster, like if he tells us to run, 33 seconds in a 300 in practice and we have like a workout, then, he doesn't want you to come through at 32 flat or 31.9 or whatever. He wants you to come through at 33. So if you go out and you run 32 or 31 or something like that, it's going to hurt the rest of the workout and it's going to potentially hurt you and like your muscles, because we still have to lift and stuff like that, so have other workouts, and it just piles on. So it's like that's something that I had a problem with before, where I would go and I try to like do every workout like almost like more, where like this year especially I went and I was like, okay, if I don't feel good, I'm not doing it, like which he asked from me. And at the same time, it's like, just hit the times, like do what he asked, don't do more. Because like he's training us to run a certain time, and the time's usually fast. He's not training us to run slow.
How does nutrition play a role in being a professional athlete? Do you watch what you eat now?
Yeah, I definitely watch what I eat. And before, like when I was in high school, we always kind of ate well because my mom would cook first. She made sure that we ate like pretty well. But being a professional athlete and just having access to whatever you want to eat pretty much at any time can be a problem. And then a lot of times, like the way that we're training, like you might be training like really hard and stuff like that. You want to eat a lot, but sometimes you don't necessarily need to eat as much or as much as certain things. So like now, as of like last year, at the end of last season, I got on like a meal prep service. One of the restaurants in Claremont, Vita 365, they do like a meal prep. And there's like a solid amount of athletes on it out here. And we do, they have like gluten-free meals. And it's like 5 days a week for lunch and dinner. And I go, and it's like, 5 minutes away. So I like pick up my meals like every Monday and Thursday. They usually have like really healthy, really good stuff in there, like all organic stuff like that. And that's actually helped me a lot because in 2019 season, I definitely was overweight quite a bit. And like I want to say like in terms of numbers, like I was anywhere between 90 and 195, which is like really heavy for me. So then this year I ended up cutting a lot of weight. And so I was like during the season, for the most part, I was between like 182 and 184.
Okay.
So like probably like a 10-pound difference. And that's like a big deal too.
What about hydration? Is hydration a big thing for you?
Yeah, hydration is pretty big. Like in Florida, you have to be hydrated. Like you don't have a choice. So I think like even like water's not enough. So like, I'll come to practice with like a 32-ounce bottle of water, and then I'll come to practice with like maybe like a Powerade or a Pedialyte or something like that. And especially on like the harder days when we're having like really intense practices, actually, especially towards the end of the season, like a lot of the days are like a little bit more like either more sprint heavy or more like speed endurance heavy. Like you gotta come to practice and you really have to be hydrated because you don't want like the worst thing is to catch a cramp in practice. That's the worst thing. And so definitely the hydration is really important. And like even like the little salt, like we'll have salt packets and stuff like that you can put in your water and stuff like that. Because a lot of times water is just not enough. Like you're sweating so much when it's, June, like May, June here, it's like 98 degrees and humid, like really humid.
You went to the July meet in Hungary? Did you compete there as well? Okay. Yeah. And what you did the 200 there, correct?
No, I did the 400. I ran the 400 there.
What was that like there?
So it's interesting because me and my coach were actually trying out a new race plan in the 400, and it didn't go how we wanted. So what happened was, before that, coach was telling me that, I'd go out too hard. I'd run a meet in Claremont, or one of the meets where the same meet I actually ran 2024. I ran 45.4, and I want to say I went out in like 20.8 or something like that.
Wow.
And then I came to 300 like 31.7, and I died like super hard.
Oh man.
And because in my mind, I'm like, I'm trying to run 43.
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Sure. I get it.
You can't do that. Not right now, at least.
Yeah.
He said you need to build up. That's not what I want you to come through at. That's not how I want you to run the race. So then, instead of running it like that, like kind of just get out hard and just hold on, he was like, all right, just go down the backstretch really smooth, like more like 21.5. And he was like, kick at 130. So then I tried that race plan, and we went into it. It didn't work out because once I got around the curve, I felt like all my momentum was kind of gone. So when I tried to kick, I feel like I didn't have like the speed enough to kick.
Yeah.
Like to hold on to what I already had. I felt like I lost too much speed curve. And I assessed it. And like he was happy that I did the race plan. He was like, we'll just try to, move the kick point like back to like maybe like 180 or something like that, like 180 left, and then kick from there. I'll see how that goes. So unfortunately, we didn't get to do it again this season, but I definitely have faith that it'll be better.
Where did you run the 2024 at?
It was in Claremont.
Okay.
It was at the meet where I think Noah ran the 19.9.
Okay.
Like the second Claremont meet.
Okay. How many times did you compete in Europe this summer?
We just ran 2 races there. Just the Monaco and then Budapest.
Did you like the Stade Louis II Stadium in Monaco?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Monaco was really nice. I just loved the city.
What hotel do they have you guys in?
So we stayed at. It wasn't the normal hotel. That's what they told me.
Okay.
It was. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, because when I would go, I would stay in Mentone and I would take the bus in. It's about a 20-minute ride, but then I get to stay for a week and I could go to the beach each day. But no, I thought the Monaco meet it's one of my favorites. It's just a great stadium. The conditions are perfect. I want to go to the July. All I hear is good things about Budapest. Tiana Bartoletto told us a couple of weeks ago that that's her favorite meet. She said, I guess you can walk from the hotel to the stadium and back. Is that true?
Yeah, it's a little bit. I've walked there actually, but I wouldn't do it normally.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
What is the workout that you do that tells you are ready to roll?
Every workout.
Okay.
But lately, I can tell you for the 200, we do. It's like a race model where we do an 80 on the curve out of blocks.
Okay.
And then we'll take like I want to say like 7 minutes, and then we'll go. It's 6 or 7 minutes, and then we'll go a 120 coming off the curve, and then we'll do another 6 or 7 minutes, and then you'll run an 80 on the straightaway, and that's the workout where it's like a race model. You kind of put it together where it's like you're gonna if you run that workout well, you'll run well in the actual meet, or 2 150s. 2 150s with full recovery, and if you're running like under 15 seconds for both of the 150s, then you're ready to run 19. That's what they say.
Wow.
I think it's like 14.8. If you're running like 14.8 for both 150s, you can run 19.
What is the workout that you dislike the most, but you know it's good for you?
Oh, that's easy. First of all, any fall training workout, and fall training we're on the grass. I hate fall training.
Really?
I hate running in the grass. Yeah, I'm not good at it. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not good at it, but it is probably the weakest part of my season. Any of the workouts we're on the grass, we do like a lot of longer stuff where it's like, it was like in November and December, it'll be like, maybe like 6, 4, 2, 1, 5, 3, 2, 1, like something like that with like minimal recovery. Or maybe we'll do like a 5, 2 3s, 3 2s, and 4 1s, stuff like that. And we'll have like maybe like 3 minutes recovery between each rep or something like that. And it's not fast, but it's I don't like I don't like that. And then like during the season, I want to say like February or March, we do one workout where it's like 420, 320. And that's around the time of the year when we start running fast. So the 420 will be like fairly fast, and then we'll come back like in 8 minutes and do a 320 in that workout. And it's when you start to transition. So you're putting on spikes now. He's asking you to run fast, and that workout kills us, or it kills me every single time. So that's a little rough for me too. Other two I probably hate the most. Like anything on the grass and 420, 320. And it's like, I think 200s at the end, but the 200s aren't really emphasized as much. They're more like to just, get some more meters in. But the 420, 320 is like fairly, it's a little bit harder.
If you weren't a sprinter, what event would you do in track and field?
I like long jump. I really like long jump. And I have some hops. I got some bunnies, so I can actually jump pretty. Like I'm gonna go ahead and say that I can probably jump the highest in the group.
Oh, that's cool.
Like I'll probably say that because we do a lot of box jumps and stuff like that. So like broad jump, box jumps, all that kind of stuff. So like I can jump pretty high, pretty far. So I feel like I'd be a pretty good long jumper.
Yeah, about 35 years ago, I interviewed Michael Jordan, and he knew I had been a track coach, and he looked at me and he goes, "Okay," and this is in front of a group, and he goes, "What track event should I do?" And I said, "It's obvious." And he goes, "What's that?" I said, "The triple jump." Now he had long jump, and he looks at me and goes, "Why did you think the triple jump?" I said, "Your vertical leap, the strength of your back, man. I mean, the triple jump is one of the hardest events to." I teased him. I said, "Give me 5 weeks, I'll get you over 55 feet." And but you look at athletes and stuff. Coach works with sprinters, and then he's got Jasmine, I guess, is she does the long jump. She just won the British title. Do you see all the athletes, especially in COVID now? Are you seeing all the athletes were you seeing all the athletes on the track, or was it so separated that you just see the people you were working out with?
Especially towards the end of it, definitely seeing all the athletes like towards the weeks where it started getting I guess farther into it, like till July and stuff like that. We're definitely seeing probably everybody because the times would kind of overlap. Jasmine specifically, she's been in Great Britain for a while because she went over there originally. I think she got stuck over there because she come back to the US. Okay. So there's a couple athletes, like Gina Lukenkemper. She trained with us too, and same thing happened to her where she went over there. She got stuck over there a little bit. So, but we saw her in Monaco actually.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
All right, so Josephus, you've made it down to 5 minutes with me. You've done awesome. Okay. So we just got a few more questions, and thank you again for taking your time. It's always great catching up with you. You work out with you were mentioning that you're working out with your brother. Are you guys competitive with each other?
I'm gonna just put it like this. I talk so much trash at practice. Really?
Okay. That's
especially cool. Like this year, like once I started training with the sprinters, I started talking a lot of trash because they're just so fun to mess with.
Oh, that's good. Well, it's like it's relaxed and it's an outlet. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
Are you taking a break right now?
So yeah, right now it's a little bit of a break.
Good.
Just gonna get ready for next season. But the way that this year is, like there are not really any more meets in the U.S.
Sure.
And stuff like that. So we're like on some downtime. Coach give us a little bit of downtime.
Good. What was the biggest lesson you learned this year?
Biggest lesson, should be patient and don't force it, or don't force like anything. There are a lot of things where, like even when I was, like in terms of like hard workouts or anything like that, like if don't force, there's a lot of things to not force, but don't force it. Like if I don't feel good, just shut it down. Don't force it. And that's actually something I learned from like Noah and Shawnee, like both of them, like who are probably like two of the front runners in our group. Like they have like all the accolades. And both of them, they do that very well, where they'll listen to their bodies, and if they don't feel good, they'll communicate it. Where it's like, I don't feel good, and coach will be like, all right, I'll give you this instead. It's not as intense or something like that, or just shut it down. Like if we're in the middle of workout, that's something that I had to learn the hard way, because even like earlier they had like a little bit, and I want to say like March, like sometime in March. And I had did it the year before that as well. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm not having any more injuries. Like that's not happening, because if I would just, not try to push as hard in certain days, then it wouldn't happen. So it's like, if I feel something, I'm gonna say it. Like, I'm not gonna like just be like, I feel pretty good, I can do the workout. Like, no, if it doesn't feel good, I'm not gonna push it and stuff like that. And I learned that from Noah especially, and that's one of the reasons I feel like Noah doesn't really get hurt that often, because he's very vocal. Like if he doesn't feel good, he will say it in a heartbeat.
Okay. What's your PB at 100 meters?
100 meters? Oh, I haven't run the 100 since like high school. So I want to say it's like 10.5. Okay.
And your PB at 200 is 20.24.
Yeah.
And what's your PB at 400?
It's 45.09.
And did you run that at the U.S. Champs a couple of years?
No, I think I ran 45 like 2 or maybe 45.1 at U.S. Champs, something like that.
Yeah, I've got some nice pictures of you. We'll get them over to you. I mean, really great stuff of you coming out of the blocks. Mike did it, the guy who's producing this. He got some killer stuff of you. So we'll get those off you.
I think I've seen it. Or I think I've seen it. Like,
we put some of them up on Instagram, because it's kind of, I like to do the whole kind of give people a great progression. So you have survived 39 minutes with me, Josephus, and you've got to end this thing. I will get this up next week, okay? But thank you so much for your time. I always enjoy catching up with you. Have a good rest, and I hope to see you. I'll see you next season. We can give Coach B a little bit of trouble, because he needs
let's get it.
This is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. We were doing the program Socialing the Distance, and we featured Josephus Lyles, who ran 20.24 this season. And he's always a lot of fun to talk to. I always enjoy talking with you, Josephus. Thank you again. Have a great break, okay?
All right, no problem. You
Talk
too.
to you, man. Thank you. Hey, sports fans. It's Larry Eder. It's RunBlogRun. It's your favorite program, Socialing the Distance. And today we're featuring Josephus Lyles. And this is the epilogue, where I get to say pithy things. But anyway, before I say pithy things, here's the deal. Please, 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 if you like us on social media. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Instagram. And please, please, please subscribe on YouTube. Not the YouTube, as I used to call it, YouTube. Okay? We've got over 500 videos up. There's some really cool stuff. Go back in the archives, see if you can find Cavs McKenzie. Cavs is one of my cult favorites. Anyway, today I interviewed Josephus Lyles, and I just got to say, and our producer Mike Deering said it first, we could interview Josephus and Noah by themselves and together for hours. They are two of the most fun people to interview. They love talking about their craft. They're articulate, they're fun, and just watch the clip where I asked Josephus if he's competitive with his brother. It's pretty fun. But, Josephus has been known as a 400 guy, and he's run, I think, 45.08. But this year, he went down from 20.7 to 20.24 in the 200. What changed everything? It sounds like he was doing some faster work, working on his blocks. I think he seems much more confident. He ran the 20.24 in the States, and then went over to Europe and ran a 200 and a 400, and both went pretty well, and he had a good time. And getting over to Europe was a story in itself. He's had 6 COVID tests this season, and bunches of paperwork to get over there. He works with Lance Brauman, that's his coach, and Lance also coaches Noah Lyles, his brother, and Shawnee Miller-Wevo, among others, and Jasmine Sawyer, the British long jumper. And our interview was far-ranging and wide-ranging, and what it was about was how an athlete during a pandemic can keep their head and have a decent season out of it. The disappointment of the Olympic postponement is obvious, but Coach Brauman kept their heads together and they built a pretty darn good season. Josephus is a great young man. I've known him for almost 5 years. He's always enthusiastic, and he has a great smile, and he has a wonderful, honest laugh, and I enjoy that. I also enjoy just checking in with him about where training's at, where he's developed this year. All those things are important. But with Josephus and where he's running now, and where my guess is he'll be running next spring, I think you could see both Lyles truly challenging for Olympic teams. And that's a pretty difficult thing to do, to have two brothers who are that close. I think it's incredible coaching skill that coach doesn't have them competing with each other all the time and is able to let them focus on what they do best. One of the other things that was interesting in the interview today was that Josephus talked about the intensity of his workouts now as a professional athlete as opposed to before. One of the things he brought up is that in high school, he'd barely go under 50 seconds in the 400 during workouts. Now he runs workouts with 400s in the 45 range, and he's run workouts with 200s in the 19 range. So that tells you something. The quality of work, the intensity, but also the ability to stay healthy are all key. Nutrition plays a big part in it. He talked about his focus on eating well and where he gets good, healthy, organic food, hydration, using Pedialyte. It's the attention to detail that takes an athlete from a good athlete to being the best that they can be. Is it nature? Is it nurture? I think it's a combination of things. The Lyles mom figured it out a long time ago, and she knew her boys were capable of being elite athletes, and she supported them, and she's managed them. Lance Brauman, as their coach, has helped develop them and encourage them, and his relaxed sense of humor gives them confidence. And the support of a brand such as Adidas. Adidas has been sponsoring these kids since they both got out of school. Adidas, one of my favorite brands, and they treat their athletes with respect, and they have a long-term approach in many cases. And that's what's pretty cool about it. It's that combination, it's that perfect storm of everything coming together. And you've got two athletes, two brothers who are so good. Today we interviewed Josephus, and we really spoke about Josephus. I only asked him a couple of questions about competing with his brother. I wanted to find out what makes him tick. It's very easy for media people. There's easy questions all the time. Easiest questions are, how do you compete with your brother? Boy, your brother's good. Where are you? And stuff like that. I got the same feeling during the Dan and Dave time with Dan O'Brien and Dave Johnson. And the easy questions were from people who'd never been to a track meet, and they were like, you guys are bad boys when you were kids. What was that like? And they had to play these roles. I don't want athletes playing roles. I want athletes being honest. That's what we try to give to you on RunBlogRun and on Socialing the Distance. That's what it's all about. I want you to see in those athletes, see inside them, and what they reveal. And everybody has their private lives too. I respect that. I'm not People Magazine. But when you see Josephus run 20.24, when you see him go 1-2 with his brother, when you see him challenge his brother, I want you to know why. There's always a fascinating story behind how athletes do things. And I remember spending some time with the Olympic filmmaker Bud Greenspan, and Bud told me to always look behind the story, always look for the less than obvious things. Take the time to really listen. And that's what we're trying to do here at Socialing the Distance. So thank you again for following us. This is the epilogue on our featured athlete, Josephus Lyles. And this is RunBlogRun. This is Larry Eder. I'm going to ask you a couple things. If you like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And if you love us, subscribe on YouTube and see our videos and check out stuff and enjoy things and pass these around. The more eyeballs, the more peach coffees I can get. Okay? Anyway, Larry Eder, RunBlogRun, Socialing the Distance. Thank you, Mike Deering, for producing and managing this. Thank you, son Adam Johnson Eder, for trying to keep me focused and not rolling your eyes today and going, Larry. And thank you, kind viewers and listeners, for allowing me to do something that I've wanted to do and loved doing for years. So talk to you soon. Have a great evening. Stay safe, isolate, inside, wear a mask. Outside, if you're not going to be 6 feet away, wear a mask. It's caring for other people. Sharing is caring, remember. Okay, I'm done here.